Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Platinum Ranking. As you've seen from the last episode, we are changing things up again and we are assigning four things with a bronze, a silver, a gold, and a platinum trophy. Now, this week we're going to go for a very, very, very broad topic, and this isn't a conclusive list, but we are going to go for the best villains in gaming of all time. Now, the way we're going to do it is we're going to talk about my four, Jack's going to go for his four, we're going to debate what's the best out of them, and then we are going to have a little bit of an honourable mentions at the end because there are so many and we don't want to get flack for not saying certain ones. So, yeah. Jack, do you want to go first? Do you want to hit up your four?
It's so difficult for me because there is so many. So, Joker and Vaz would definitely be in it. And then I thought Doc Ock, I feel like kind of deserves to be up there purely just based off the first Spider-Man game. Well, not first, sorry, the most recent one. I think that's a really good way of telling that story. But is he top four? I don't know. I found it really hard to pick a top four. I know I would definitely put Joker and Vaz up there. But then it just...
Excuse me.
I think Far Cry always stands out for me as like villains because like you could put Pagan Min easily instead of Vaz. You could put Anton instead of Vaz.
Who's Anton?
I think about those Anton to he's 6. I can't remember his last name.
Yeah, I forget about that game. It's bad, but I forget about that game.
No, it's a fucking good game.
I prefer number 5. Sorry, continue.
I don't think I've got a definitive 4. Obviously, you've got stuff like Dr. Wily for like Mega Man. You've got Eggman. You've got Bowser. You've got all these kind of villains that have stuck around. I thought it was interesting that not a single we love Assassin's Creed so much. Not a single one of those villains would make it on there for me.
No. The villains are not so good.
Yeah, it's difficult. And then I thought about putting a controversial take actually into my top 4, but I don't know how much I buy into it. But I like the theory that Joel is the villain of the Last of Us franchise.
Okay, that is...
You heard this?
I've brushed upon it. I haven't really played much of The Last of Us. So I mean, I played the first one a bit, but talk to me about that. Tell me.
So huge spoilers for Last of Us 1 and 2. If you've somehow not played those games, come back when there's characters on the screen, because that's when we'll be talking about our 4. But as I said, I don't know if I buy this, but I do like the theory that... So in The Last of Us 1, you play as Joel, and he's the protagonist along with Ellie. He's the hero, but he's definitely done bad things. He alludes to it multiple times. That a specific line he says, he's been on both sides of the trap when they get trapped by the enemy. It's like he's been the one that's been attacked, but he's also been attacking innocent people. He's done what he's had to do to survive. Mm-hmm. But where the theory really comes into it is at the end of the game, right? And to save the world, essentially, I can't remember if it's a cure or just a vaccine or an antidote for the virus in that game, is Ellie has to die. They have to harvest her brain, and because she has the cure, and this will save the world, kind of thing.
Oh yeah, she's immune, isn't she?
Yeah, and he doesn't do it because he would rather the world be the way it is and be god awful than let a daughter-like figure to him die. So he rescues her, but he doesn't just rescue her. He slaughters all the good guys in the room, and he kills the doctors just because they're there going to try and save the world. And then in number 2, he gets killed right at the beginning, right? And that happens because the daughter of one of the doctors he kills finds him and takes revenge. And I just really like the idea of being like, this is a guy that's a bit morally grey, and you want him to be your hero, but at the same time, he just doomed the world for the sake of one person. And then a lot of people got upset that he got killed by Abby, and it's like, well, Abby's the bad guy. And it's like, well, is she? Her dad was an innocent doctor trying to save the world, and some man came in and slaughtered him among with hundreds of other innocent people to protect one girl and continue to doom the world to its apocalypse state. That's not really a good guy thing.
No.
I quite like that theory.
I like that. I had heard it before actually. When you started speaking, I was like, oh, I actually have heard this, but I'd completely forgotten about that take on it. But I do agree. Like that is not a good person. Like a good person wouldn't do that. But then again, the whole question is, what would you do for your own daughter?
Exactly. Like you did just doom the world
Yes, yeah, of course,
and kill innocent people in the process.
But I think his
that's
kind
why-
of his kind of opinion is well, the world's already got to this point. Like it's already done. It's a dumb thing, you know.
But think of the lives that could have been saved if they had a cure.
Yeah, it's true.
And people always get upset that, Abby's the bad guy in that game. It's like, is she? Someone killed her dad for no reason.
Yeah.
And then she kills him. Like, yeah. Anyway, so I kind of like that theory. So sometimes I think, when I think about villains, I sometimes think maybe Joel is the villain of the Last of Us universe.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't have a definitive top 4. It's hard with video games. They don't often have standout villains. They try, but I think about some of my favourite games like Max Payne, Prince of Persia. Would I put any of those villains in this list? No, not even remotely. I couldn't even name you some of those villains. I think video games tend to have quite forgettable villains. And that's obviously it's different from a film, because a film tends to have the perspective of both across 2 hours, but you play a 100-hour game purely from the perspective of one person. And the main villain is normally the boss fight, right? So you see in bits and pieces throughout the game, but you spend maybe more time fighting underlings. So yeah, a bit harder with video games. Yeah,
no, I agree. It's a very kind of one-sided fight, isn't it, with video games? I mean, I've got four on my list, and I'll go through them, but I know we're not going to overlap on most of them. So my picks would be Nemesis from Resident Evil 3.
Albert Wesker as well, sorry, would be on my list.
Albert Wesker's a scary man, but he's Nemesis. Just, it sounds weird to say, but has a little special place in my heart. So I played the original.
It's because of the hunting you down, isn't it? So.
Yeah, it's terrifying. And I played the original on so not the remake. I played Resident Evil 3 Nemesis on the PS1 with my dad. So like the game itself is special to me, but I remember playing it quite a few times and getting to the first time when Nemesis tries to hunt you down, and each time it gives you a choice. It kind of pauses the game and it says run, hide, or fight. And if you can run, you can just run out the building, but he'll follow you until you get to a certain distance from that point. But if you go back, he'll be there. If you hide, he's likely to find you unless you hide in the right place. And if you fight, you're probably going to die. Like, unless you're good at the game, you're probably going to die. And throughout the game as well, he changes. So every time you kill him or every time he gets damaged, he mutates further and less humanoid till at the end he's just this disgusting flesh beast. It's a fantastic, I say, character arc. He's not really a character. He's just like this epitome of disgust. I think he's such a good character. Yeah, I really enjoyed him. So he'd be on there for me. I've got the Elusive Man, which it's tough. I'd probably only say like he's really only good in number 2, Mass Effect 2. He's kind of still a bad guy in number 3, but he's also not, and obviously he's not like the overarching bad guy of overarching bad guy of Mass Effect, but he's bad enough. You know he's bad when you're playing it, and he's just kind of cool. And who's he voiced by?
Michael, is it Michael Sheen?
Maybe.
Have a look while you talk.
It's Charlie. I think it is Charlie Sheen's dad. And then so he was cool. I just really enjoyed him, and he always sticks out.
Martin Sheen.
Yeah, nice, and he always sticks out in my head. Carry on.
He can't be too much of a villain because he made Miranda, Yvonne Strahovski.
Oh,
Yvonne, call me.
So he's cool. He always sticks in my head. If I say a video game villain, I really like Mass Effect, so like I'm a little bit biased in that respect. But yeah, he's cool. Next one would be Andrew Ryan from BioShock.
Would you kindly?
Yeah. Slave chooses, a man obeys. You know, all that. it's the twist at the end. Like, spoilers, I should have said it before, but spoilers for who haven't played Bioshock. It's your fault if you haven't played it by now, but yeah, he's a good guy until the end twist, and you find out that he's actually been controlling you the whole time. That's a proper villain. That's a proper bad guy where you're just like, oh, damn.
Damn.
Oh, damn. And I've played the game like 4 times, and it's just like, it doesn't get me every time, but I'm still like, you just don't notice it. Like, it's so subtle, and that's the whole idea behind it. Yeah, I love that. And on my list, there was also Joseph from Far Cry 5, so I know you said about... I know you said about, excuse me, the other Far Cry. Far Cry is just so good at making bad guys. I think it's because it's less of that one-sided thing. It's you find out their story throughout, but it's also the main person becomes kind of a bad guy, especially in number 3. Like, Jason starts out just like a shipwrecked guy, and he just descends into madness. And I think that's kind of every single Far Cry game. That's kind of what happens. So it's a fine line between the bad guy and the good guy in Far Cry, and I think that's why I like Joseph so much, because he's actually.
I think Pagan's better than him.
I've only played the beginning of Far Cry 4, but I do enjoy him.
Yeah, Troy Baker gives a great performance, and I love that opening line is like, "Let's fuck this shit up" or whatever he says, and they get off, and it's cool.
It's a cool intro. But yeah, that would be my 4.
So what 4 are we going to go with then for ranking? So I think we agreed on Joker.
Yep.
We agreed on Vars. We agreed on The Elusive Man and Andrew Ryan.
Yeah, I'd say those are probably the 4 big ones.
I think that's a good 4. Maybe not the definitive 4, but for the sake of this. So
yeah.
Who's bronze?
Oh, don't know. The Elusive Man, probably.
For me, bronze is The Elusive Man. Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. I think, like you said, number 2 makes him a fantastic villain, but the others have a legacy. Well, maybe not because of Vars, but I don't know. I think for 2 is his standout performance, and 2 is fantastic. But then I could quote more Vars lines or more Joker lines than I could The Elusive Man. I think his performance is fantastic, but is it the most memorable out of these 4? And I don't think that's the case. And of course, he's not an outright bad guy.
This is what I was going to say. He's not the big bad, but he's also trying to do good things in his own way. It's bad what he's doing, and in the end he does turn into like a pretty bad guy, but the reason he's doing things is for the good of mankind, but he's doing it terribly. He's just doing it wrong, basically. So yeah, I'd say bronze for old Elusive boy.
And he gave us Miranda, like I said earlier, so he can't be that bad.
Can't complain.
Like every single Mass Effect 2 playthrough. So all that matters is getting Miranda on my side. Yeah.
No, I agree. Like, Tali's got a little special place in my heart too.
Yeah. At least it's not the Asari. What's the Asari's name again called?
Liara.
If Joel, you're watching this, I'm sorry. She's just not that great.
She's not. She's annoying.
Very annoying. So, Joel somewhere is just having a heart attack over this bullshit.
Sorry,
we've lost a subscriber. Okay, so Silver.
Probably Andrew Ryan.
Andrew Ryan for me.
Yeah.
We've really got to find a topic we argue over because we didn't talk about this beforehand where we would put them, so it's just a coincidence. I think we're on the same page here.
Yeah, and I think we might be on the same page throughout the whole thing. But it's good. It's good. Instead, we can take the time and discuss why they're good as opposed to why we disagree. So, it just shows that
fantastic twist.
Yeah, the twist is amazing. He's a likable character till the end, and like just the way he sounds as well is so cool.
Would you kindly?
It's just got that like suave suave coolness that I love. Yeah.
And again, with when we think about maybe the two villains we're going to talk about last, he's not as dangerous. He's not as world-ending. He's a man that he obviously had his dream. It gets corrupted. It goes wrong for him. But unlike the other two who are just villains without a shadow of a doubt, I think there's a time when Andrew Ryan isn't a villain.
Yeah, and I think you've hit the nail on the head. Then is why he doesn't come any higher. Like he's got more to him in terms of being a bad guy than the elusive man, but he's not outright bad. I think he goes insane, doesn't he? I think he's a bit. Excuse me.
Yeah, it's been a while since I played those two games, but he obviously started with a dream and a wholesome dream, and it ends up going wrong for him. But he's not talking about ending the world, really. Unless I'm remembering Bioshock correctly, it has been a few years. I don't think his world domination is ever part of his idea. That doesn't mean he doesn't do bad things and stuff, like the whole Little Sisters and stuff.
Yeah, I think Rapture just descends into madness and due to the plasmids, the powers that you get, and it turns people insane. And I think he kind of is subject to that as well. I can't remember if he tries to. Again, it's been a while since I played it, but I can't remember if he's tries to blow up Rapture and that affect the world. I don't think. I think it's very contained, and he's a bad guy within Rapture.
I think. Yeah, he's a bad guy within Rapture. He's not a threat to the world. Yeah. Where I think the other two, in particular Joker, but even with Vars, maybe he's not an outright threat to the world, but wherever Vars would go, he would be the bad guy. Wherever the Joker goes, he would be the bad guy.
Yeah.
Whereas Andrew Ryan is very contained, I feel, to Rapture.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay. Gold.
Gold. Oh, this is a tough one. This is the hardest.
For me, so
no. Okay, you go first then, because I'm not sure where I'd put them. So
Vars.
Okay, yeah, I agree.
I'll tell you why when we get to the Joker, but
okay.
For me, Vars. Go on.
No, I was just.
I want to hear your opinion first.
Okay, yeah, okay. Vars is he's cool and he steals the show every time he's on the screen, and he's kind of one-dimensional because he is just insane. Like he has that line.
It's not even.
What's that line?
It's not even necessarily the villain of the whole game, is he either?
No, his sister as well. It's got
and sisters.
Yeah. So yeah, I think he's a bit scary. Like he is a bit of a loose cannon, and he's at essence a murderer, and and the epitome of evilness in a human. Not even evilness, just like terribleness,
chaos.
Yeah, chaos as a human. But he's likable. As opposed to the other two we've already mentioned, he's likable in the fact that he's a bad guy. Like he's likable because he's bad, not because he was good and he's trying to do good things like the other two.
He's just straight up bad.
Yeah, he's straight up bad. The other two have a likable story behind them, or in the future, or their story is contained within the games and they're enjoyable. But Vars is like, oh, okay, you're insane, and somehow still likable, and that's why I think. He's good, but he's not the best.
Yeah, he has a lot going for him. He, in particular for Ubisoft games, he's probably the first memorable Ubisoft villain. He's got memorable lines, iconic lines, and again, it's one of those. The other two, we were talking about how they've got some sense of not being that they can be redeemed, but they weren't always this way. Vars is who Vars is. And there's no changing that, and there was probably no good beforehand, and that's okay. He is the villain of the film that's there purely to be a villain. He doesn't. Yeah. Yes, he's one-dimensional in that sense. Well, he's one-dimensional in the sense that he's a villain, and that's all he is. But he's obviously got the dimensions to his speeches and the mind games he plays. But sometimes it's okay for a villain just to be fucked up. You don't need to be always fucked up because mummy and daddy hurt him growing up, or blah blah blah.
Yeah.
He's fucked up, man. And those speeches are iconic. Him talking to you, I think, doesn't he talk to you in your earpiece as you go around the world as well, telling you little things. And of course, he influences the player to the point that towards the end of the game, you could actually kind of become more like Vars by the end.
Yeah, entirely. I mean, at the end, you have a choice, don't you? You know, you could. I think it's like kill or don't kill, you know, or stay with the bad guys. I think is the essence.
Yeah.
Stay with the bad guys or leave and become a good guy again. But and that's due to Vars's influence, arguably. So
yeah. He has such an effect on the player throughout. And then, yeah, of course, a fantastic performance, memorable speeches, memorable scenes. And again, I think a lot does go in his favour purely for being maybe the first memorable villain for Ubisoft. They've got many now thanks to the Far Cry series, but before Far Cry 3, who would be the memorable villain of a Ubisoft game? There's no answer for me, in my opinion. As I said earlier, if I were to take all the Ubisoft games and rank their villains, the top 5 would all be Far Cry, probably.
Yeah, maybe one Assassin's Creed in there, like
maybe Altair's Aluminium
Albanir Al-Nassim.
I remember.
I think his name is. Something like that.
He might be up there, but yeah. And spoilers again, if you haven't played and finished Far Cry 6, hopefully this isn't the last we see of him.
Yeah, is he actually alive?
That was him in that credit scene.
Okay.
And I don't know. I never played the DLC, so the DLC was you could play as the villains. I know there's an old man Vars scene in it.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. How the hell does he survive? That's what I want to know. That'd be cool if he comes back, like Far Cry 3
you're
too.
tripping most of the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So.
It'd be cool if they bring Jason back as well.
And stuff. Yeah, Jason was pretty cool. But yeah, so. But Vars is an also well-dominating villain, but at the same time, whatever location you pick him up and drop him, he will be the villain of. Well, you couldn't say that for the other two, but also his domination isn't the world.
Yes, for power, isn't it? He just wants power. He wants more
of wherever he is.
He's not self-sustaining, but you know, he's doing it for himself, and that's it.
Women do it for themselves. What a great song!
So good.
So the platinum is Joker.
Yes.
For me, Arkham Knight really sells why Joker should be the villain.
Mm-hmm.
Joker is a well-dominating villain, I think. It's difficult with Joker. I felt a bit weird putting him so high because obviously he's got years of comics and films and being an icon from that goes in his favour. So I've got to try and keep it strictly to games. But you think about Injustice, you know, killing Superman's wife and child, and he gets the Superman's hand through his heart or his chest, so to speak. But in those Arkham games in particular, he's just... I mean, Mark Hamill, obviously, with a fantastic performance.
I was going to bring that up.
Yeah, that really sells it, is his performance. And Troy Baker's in Origins, but obviously Mark Hamill's done it for longer. Fantastic, iconic lines. Crazy over-the-top plots. His relationship with how much he affects the protagonist, how much he affects Batman, is... just incredible, that dynamic between the two and how they feed off each other. But what really sells it for me is Arkham Knight, which you didn't really play, right?
No, I've only played the first two, Asylum and City.
So again, spoilers, but in Arkham Knight, he's obviously dead. He dies at the end of City. But you get... Well, I won't go too heavy into why. But the Joker's in it, but still dead. They didn't bring him back, but he's like an hallucination you see throughout the game. And... if he wasn't a good enough villain as it was, just the way he was when he was alive, him talking to you throughout the entirety of the game, making comments on the things you're doing, having debates with you and stuff, it's all just so good. So good.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, for me, it's the Joker is like a villain on so many levels. Like, physically, you know, you don't want to meet him.
Look.
Yeah, well, yeah. I was gonna say you don't want to meet him in the dark alley, but yeah, he also is kind of scary looking. I don't really like clowns, so it's like double
does?
whammy for me. Um, he's insane, so he's got that vase kind of benefit, and yeah, he's just kind of a loose cannon, and he's terrifying. The way he kind of, as you kind of touched upon it, the way he like affects Batman, the hero. Obviously, I haven't played Arkham Knight, but in Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, you can still see Batman get very frustrated with the Joker and why he can't beat him. And obviously, there's loads of fan theories as to they've got this codependent relationship or whatever, but we're not diving into that. But it's the way that he does affect this, figure of vengeance, as is. Yeah, it's a bit of everything. He's just everything that a villain should be. Like insane, a physical challenge. He has that like grasp for power, but you don't really know why. And I think that's it. He's an enigma. And yeah, most villains you're kind of like, oh, he wants this because of this. The Joker, you could think that he wants to, I don't know, blow up City Hall because he wants to kill the mayor. Actually, he's got this other entire plan that has nothing to do with the mayor, and that's kind of what I like. It keeps you on your toes. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say it's like you get to the courthouse to stop him, and you think he's there to destroy it, and then a bomb goes off 2 cities over.
Yeah,
this was never the plan.
Yeah,
it's the unpredictability and it's the psychological factor. I think that puts him up there in that list.
Exactly, and he always seems
Incredible
to be
performance.
Unbeatable. Like even if you beat him, he comes back. And the other 3 don't have that. Well, Vaz has it to an extent. You've got this old man Vaz now, but at the time when you played the game, that was it. One and done. You killed him. You're off to a flying start. But the other two is the same. Like you've beaten them. That's it. The Joker, no matter what he's in, you've mentioned that he's in comics and films. He's always coming back. And I know they obviously don't link in, but he's always there, or even if he's not physically there, he has an impression on the hero, he has an impression on the people around him. And I think that's like the essence of it. Like he has this massive impression. And scary. He's kind of scary.
That goes what you said to him, like never, not ever being beaten. Like that goes into Arkham Knight. Joker's literally dead, and he's still fucking with Batman.
Yeah.
So. All right, well, that is our list.
Nice.
People are going to disagree for sure.
Yeah. Shall we do some honourable mentions?
I think because mine wasn't a top 4, I don't think I have any additional honourable mentions, so hit me with yours.
Okay, we got GLaDOS from Portal.
GLaDOS.
Always terrified me.
I was replaying Portal 2 the other day, and I did think that, she certainly deserves to be up there.
She's scary. Handsome Jack. From Borderlands. He was always quite good. You've got obviously all the Far Cry heroes. Villains.
Pagan
Men. There's the guy from what's he called? I can't really remember his name.
What game?
Fucking GTA San Andreas, the policeman. Played by Samuel Jackson.
I don't remember his name. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I don't know. And yeah, there's loads out there. Give us your opinions. Let us know. Let us know what you think is the best villain going. There's also Darth Malak from Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, Vader maybe could make an argument for being on there somewhere.
Yeah, but yeah.
So what should they do, Mark?
They should tell their mum. They should subscribe, comment, tell your mum.
No. What was it you said? I think you said like, comment, subscribe, share, tell your friends, tell your mum.
Yeah. Like, share, comment, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your mum. That's it. That's what they should do.
All right. We'll catch you on the flip side, people.
See you later.